Welcome back to the Your Girl Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. Hello guys, welcome back to a very relaxed podcast on the Your Girl Yaz podcast today. I have just finished a really lovely day. I've decided that Tuesdays are like my call and podcast day, where I do like my one-to-one clients. I have my CEO club where I have community calls with the girls, and I actually just got off a community call. So in the CEO club, we have 2 calls a month. We have one call which is mindset focus, which is me supporting you with everything to do with your business mindset, like really supporting you in, overcoming the negative thoughts that you're having and just, all of the ups and downs of business. And then the second call we have, which is in the middle of the month, is the community calls. And the community calls are just there for girls to come together, like there for all of us to learn about each other, to talk about things other than business, like actually just have that space to come on and just chat. And I always say they're like the yapping sessions. And the CEO club is still very new, so it was our first community call, and I have come off it feeling so like happy. Like it was just everything that I would want a community to be. Like all of us girls were just really sharing, how we're actually feeling at the moment. Me recording this, it was a full moon yesterday, the Scorpio full moon, and one of my bestest friends, Jessie, is very much into moons, and like she was just sharing how it's the most intense full moon of the year and how it really is bringing up so much emotion. And I just felt really cool to record this podcast episode, really much this podcast episode around alignment. And for those people right now that feel like they are not in alignment, feeling a little bit lost in their life and their business, and feeling like they need to change everything, they need to, let go, maybe in a phase of like that deeper knowing that the life they're living right now isn't aligned with the life that they want. And I wanted to record an episode around it and just reminding you that that is absolutely okay. Like I think sometimes we really put ourselves on a pedestal, and I'm speaking from experience here of like thinking that we have to be this polished, perfect person when really, there's so many layers to us. And I've been reading a book called Conversations About Love, I'm pretty sure it's called. One of the authors in the book talks around like we really put the emotion happiness on a pedestal, like around positivity and happiness. And she says that it would be such a nicer world if we were taught to appreciate all of our emotions and the complexity of being a human, because it's not just about those happy days and like when everything's going perfect. Like we are such in-depth species like we have so many other emotions that are really important to bring to the surface and to share and talk about. And speaking from experience, for so long, I put myself in this box of having to be the perfect mindset coach. And I was really scared to show the other parts of me, maybe the parts of me that aren't so perfect, and having so many fears that what if I share these parts of me and people don't like me anymore? Or what if I'm not good enough? And fears that so many of us have. And it can be really scary, showing yourself to people in all of your glory. And I did an episode with Light Witch, her beautiful name is Erin, and she talked a lot around, having people that you feel safe to be your whole self with. You don't always have to open yourself up to the whole world. You're allowed to be able to have that space to be vulnerable with the people that mean the most to you. And that could be girls in your life, it could be family, it could be, communities. Like the CEO club, I know is just going to be a beautiful community for girls to come together and feel love and feel valued and supported and have fun and, share when things aren't going so great, and, really have that community. and I just love it already. Like, it has been such a beautiful part of this journey for me, and finally having a lovely community where I can share and bring people together and just be able to be vulnerable as well. Like, I love being part of the community, and although I'm the host of it, I'm very much involved as like almost like a member as well, as in sharing everything that's going on with me and just like bringing everyone along for the ride of what I'm going through as well, and like just opening up my humanness, because this bloody world can feel hard sometimes to be human. It's almost like that saying of like, we are becoming human doings and not human beings. And this is actually my first solo podcast episode I've done in a long time, actually. I had some time off, so basically I obviously have been traveling. It's the 13th of May recording this, and I've been traveling since the 6th of January. So I did 13 islands. I, was with so many different people around so much energy, had some of the best memories, but at the same time, I was really feeling overwhelmed. Like, I got to Australia and then I was moving around a lot, and then I am settled where I am now, which I'm going to be until June. And I just am so happy, being here. And to be honest, I've just really, really needed that space to just be in one place and not pack up my suitcase. And I had a session with my mindset coach a few weeks ago now, and I was so emotional. I was like, I just really need some time. I just feel really overwhelmed. I feel like I've been doing so much, and traveling, I was just saying yes. I was free spirit Yaz. I was giving my 22-year-old self the trip that she would have dreamed of. Like, that chapter for me was really about living and being in the moment and having fun, and really filling my life up with experiences and memories. And it was such a beautiful chapter of my life. But I also have a very gentle part of me, a very soft, the part that you're seeing now, vulnerable, sensitive, emotional part of me that was really, really being neglected. Like, I feel like I was just on for 4 months, like just doing everything. And there's only so long you can just keep going and keep going before you do burn out. Like, let's be honest. If anyone follows me on Instagram or you saw the journey that I was on, I was just doing everything and fully just living my best life. But that's more vulnerable, gentle side of me was just craving love and time. So with my mindset coach, when we did a session, she was like, Yaz, you just need some time off. Like, you really need that time off. And I had my lovely friend called Get a Fucking Life Babe on Instagram and TikTok. She actually, our friendship started because she came on the podcast, and she also said, like, just take a week off. It's not that deep. Take a week off. But for me, it felt so deep because I put so much pressure on myself to, be Coach Yaz, be the Yaz for everyone else, that I really started to neglect myself and what I needed. That's a hard pill to swallow, I think, when you're someone that wants to give the best of yourself. It was a really hard pill to swallow because I was like, it was almost like a frustration and like a hard truth that I'm not a bloody superhuman, and that I do need time off, and that I do need time to recharge. Mel Robbins said in her book Let Them Theory, we all think we're the exception. We think like, the rule book applies for everyone else but ourselves. We feel like, you know, we can give all the advice, we can tell our friends, give the best advice to our friends, but when it comes to us, we think, oh, we'll be okay, we can just keep going, like, just, we've got this, we just got to keep going. But that's so detrimental, because in order to grow, in order to show up as the best version of yourself, it's so important to have that rest time as well. It's so important to really give yourself the gift of love and nurturing and time off and saying no. And going back to that story of, like, I had 4 guest podcast episodes booked in that week. I had my CEO club, the first like launch call booked in. I had trainings I was meant to be doing. I had all of my calls with my one-to-one clients. So I had a really, really busy week, and the thought of cancelling everything brought so much fear up for me, and it just made me feel like I wasn't good enough, and what are people going to think. Like, my head was just spiraling so much, along with the overwhelm that I was feeling. But I've really had to say to myself, like, what is the cost of me not taking a week off? Like, you can't just show up for the self-love stuff when it feels easy. It's almost like I had to go through that. I had to actually take action and do the hard thing and, really put myself first. And it shouldn't feel so hard, should it? It shouldn't feel so hard to put ourselves first. But, when I started my business 2 years ago now, and in that time it's almost like, you're just going and going, and you have these goals, and you really really want to show up as the best you for people. And I'm someone that loves helping people, right? Like, I love the work that I do. So then when it's like almost like a battle of like, okay, but where's the cut off? Like, you can be helping and helping and helping, but you cannot pour from an empty cup, can you? So it's I've had to really really get honest with myself and intentional around, okay, well, what is my business going to look like going forward? What do I want my life to look like going forward? Because I had the best 4 months, and it's 4 months I'm always going to remember. But I feel like I'm entering a new chapter of wanting to be more settled and, have a lovely work set up and have space to myself and, just being a bit more of a routine. And that's so exciting for me. I'm so excited to welcome this chapter in, probably when I leave Australia now. Like, I've really made like a nice little home for me here, and I'm going to be going to Perth next month to visit my brother. And then I'm going to be coming home, which is a whole new chapter for me. So it's been mapping out, like, wherever I am in the world, because I guarantee that I'll always be, running retreats in different parts of the world and running circles, and, in the future maybe getting flown around the world to do different talking events. And, you just don't know what's ahead, which feels so exciting. But at the same time, I've had to learn how to really nurture myself, and I don't think it's something taught enough in business, because business is like, it can be all consuming. It's a very masculine world and masculine energy of doing and showing up and saying yes, and like, spreading yourself in all these different places, in order to grow and have that success. But I've actually had to really redefine what success looks like to me, because success is not burning myself out. It's not giving all of myself away and doing everything to please other people. Success for me is living a rich life full of love and connection and passion and purpose. And purpose for me isn't defined by numbers. Like, purpose for me is defined by the deep work that I get to do with the girls in my space. And on our call today, one of the girls had an event, an amazing event, and we were talking about like how it didn't sell out, but it was the perfect number of people. And she was saying that how maybe if it did sell out, then people might have felt overwhelmed, they might have felt like it was too many people and not felt safe. And that's the thing, I think we put so much like pressure into numbers and, being fully booked and booked out. And it's like, well, actually coming back to, well, what's actually important. And, fully booked doesn't have to be your definition of success. Like, success for me, I've had to really come back, and it is deep purposeful work with my clients and my lovely CEO club and my retreats and the podcast. So it's like, looking at now, I really feel like that week off, I shed a lot. I let myself. I've been, wanting to record this podcast for a while, but I've just had blocks to share. Like, I felt like it just hadn't felt like the right time to share. And I just felt like I've just been protecting myself a little bit. And I want to share from a place of love and not like, I need to show up on the podcast. Because I just think as soon as that energy starts to come in, it just feels icky and it doesn't feel aligned with who I am. That week off really taught me a lot around what I needed to let go of. And for me, it was letting go of this perfect coach that I was trying to be, like just trying to, be the best coach for everyone else. When I know deep down that's just not aligned. Like, I am human, I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm gonna do silly things. And just starting to accept all the different parts of me and stepping away from the coach identity and coming back to Yaz, like, coming back to filling my life with intention and things that truly bring me joy. And it's been a journey the last few weeks. It's been now, like, I really have slowed down and started to be really intentional with my time. Like, I'm spending a lot more time reading, I'm going to bed earlier, I am meditating every morning without a doubt, like making sure that I have 20 minutes each morning to do my deep breathing. And I've stopped drinking coffee, which is crazy. I did a lovely podcast episode with a girl called Self Love with Lily, and she is doing a Kundalini workshop at her next event. And I actually did Kundalini in Bali, but the problem was I felt like I was doing everything so fast that I didn't get a chance to like reflect and, feel the after effects. Like, I did a Kundalini workshop in the morning and then flew to Australia in the evening. And then I arrived in Australia and, I started that chapter without letting myself close the last one in a way. So she talks about Kundalini yoga and how it really, really awakens your intuition and how it can stop you drinking caffeine. And it was so weird because on my week off, I just couldn't drink coffee. Like, I just was like, anything caffeine, I just can't do it. And that's so weird because I've been drinking coffee since I was like 16. So to all of a sudden be like, no, like my body just was rejecting coffee. Like, I went to a coffee shop to order my coffee and I just couldn't order a coffee. Like, I just was starting to order matchas, and then now I've been getting decaf coffee when I feel like I love the taste of coffee still. So it's really weird how that she said that, because I was like, oh my gosh, I did that workshop, and since I've stopped drinking coffee. I'm not telling you all that you need to stop drinking coffee, but I'm just sharing my experience of, like, I feel like anything that would be heightening my anxiety or heightening my overwhelm, my body and my intuition is starting to take control again of, like, okay, we know what we need. Like, I know what I need in order to heal, not my mind, not like externally, like my body. It feels like I've been on a really big healing journey in myself of, like, yeah, just that nurturing, intentional energy and just allowing myself to pour into myself again. And that's allowed me to really rewrite how I want to run my business. And I want to run my business a lot more around my cycle as a woman and my period and the times that I'm going to be having more energy and less energy. So I'm just experimenting with that at the moment. Like, my period last month was at a completely different time to this month. So it was like around the 16th of April last month, and then this month it was around like the 6th. So it's just like experimenting at the minute, and life is a bloody big experiment, isn't it? So just looking at, okay, when in the month do I feel the most energetic? When do I need to sort of pull back and give myself more love and energy in order to show up as the best me, first for me and then for everyone around me? So it's all of these like realizations, and like it almost does feel like a coming back to myself chapter of, like, when you get out of a really big stage, like last year when I was working full time, running a business, training for an ultra marathon, and then I burnt out. And then this stage, it was like, oh my gosh, I was traveling so fast paced. I feel like you do learn a lesson again and again until you truly like take it in. And you might come back to a stage future in life where you have to learn it again. And it's almost like we have to really, really go through it in order to learn. We need to feel in order to heal. So yeah, when I finally got to my little safe space here, where I used to be a nanny, and my lovely nanny family let me come stay, it's just allowed me the space to reconnect with myself again and take things at a bit of a slower pace. And it's been really nurturing for me having such lovely friends around me. Like, they're all friends that I met when I was in Australia the first time 2 years ago. And I just have such lovely connections here that I feel really safe with, and really, safe to just be Yaz. And they all know me from Crazy Yaz, Backpacker Yaz. They've seen me go on this big journey of starting a business to the point where it's at now. And to be honest, it has been such a big, fast paced journey. Like, 2 years is not a long time in the grand scheme of things. Like, people go to uni for 5, 6 years, and in 2 years, I've gone from being a backpacker to a woman with a business, and hosting retreats and a podcast and a coaching business, and like, as well, being a girl going from 22 to 24, and I'll be 25 soon. So it's just, the business is always going to come with me, but it's evolving with me now. And in order to welcome in a new version of you, you need to create space and you need to declutter and, let go. And letting go, even that term, letting go, what does it actually mean? Because it can feel so scary to let go. Like, it can feel like the scariest thing in the world to all of a sudden let go of a past version of you when that past version was keeping you safe for so long. And for me in business, like, it felt so scary to admit that I was burnt out. Like, as a mindset coach that's talking about, putting yourself first and self love, like, it almost felt shameful to admit that I was so burnt out, because I was like, well, I've been, supporting all of my clients with all of this work. But that is the journey of life, and that is how you learn, and that is how I can keep learning and growing, and adding new levels of depth to the services that I offer and the work that I do, is actually leading from the front and holding my hands up and you know allowing myself to feel through these times, and allowing myself to pour the love into myself when I truly need it. So I hope, if you're listening, like, you get that inspiration to be like, okay, well, where am I not pouring into myself? Like, where do I feel like I am putting other people before myself? I know if I'm going through this, then a lot of other people are. And from feedback from my clients and the girls in the CEO club and girls that speak to me in the DMs, I know a lot of people are going through a big stage of transition. And in that stage of transition, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be messy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to bring up fears and emotions that maybe it would be easier to suppress and not deal with. But I promise, down the line, they're going to come up again until you address them. So although it's the scariest thing to do, you can always reach out as well, because I do offer the Empower Hours where we can look at it together, because I am a big believer, and this is why I love having support myself, because I'm not a superhuman. Like, as much as I give the space and I bloody love being a coach, I'm also on this big self-love journey myself, and I always will be, of reaching new levels of depth in myself and learning about myself. And it is never ending. Like, it is always going to be a journey that I am on and going down. So just allowing myself to have that time and space has been so important for me, and allowing myself to cry and be honest and have that death and rebirth cycle of like, okay, well, what needs to go? Like, what isn't aligned in my life anymore? And to be honest, I just felt so sick of putting everything else first apart from myself, and feeling like I have to be this perfect version. And I feel like I've truly come back to the version of me that, is happy in herself without anything. And I was thinking, if everything went tomorrow, let's say my business completely broke down, like social media broke down, I couldn't run the podcast anymore, how would I feel? And that's quite an intense question sometimes. And I literally came to peace with, I have myself. Like, I would still be happy and I would make things work, and I would really, really put myself first and know that I had an absolute ball doing what I was doing. So it's almost like taking everything away, like, taking everything away and coming back to who you really are at your core. And I feel like that's what I've been on a journey with, because the ego can really, really be detrimental sometimes. Well, not sometimes, it can be very detrimental in our lives, of always feeling like we have to put everything before ourselves. Like, the ego makes us doubt ourselves. The ego makes us feel like we have to show up all of the time in all angles and always be on. And what I was saying to the girls this morning is, I think in the business world especially, I'm just speaking from experience here, we are taught to be unlimited everything, like, give unlimited support, offer as much as you can, like, be on all the time. Like, even for me, it's like, right, we've got Instagram, TikTok, email marketing, Slack, like, just all of these different things that I told myself I needed to show up on and be on all of the time, when actually I'm just a girl. Like, it's really, really important for me in this next chapter to really put myself first, and know that from doing that, I feel like I'm able to show up so much better for the people around me and for my clients and the CEO club. And I'm really, really excited, because I've got so intentional with my time now. Like, I've really allowed myself to get clear on what I want my schedule to look like, and even like just sharing a little bit around the changes I've made. Like Mondays is like a very intentional admin coaching clients. Tuesdays is based around coaching clients and the podcast. Wednesdays is like a coaching clients day. And then I have Fridays as my retreat day, where I'm fully focused on the retreats and planning. And I'm currently doing a course to show up as the best retreat facilitator. So I'm just really separating all of the amazing work I do and being intentional. So I'm not just constantly switching between all of these things. I recently did a training on overwhelm and how overwhelm is really impacting the way that we run our businesses. And one point that I really wanted to share is we can't multitask. Like when we think we're multitasking, it's actually our brain switching between tasks rapidly, like really fast. And this is causing us to feel so overwhelmed, burnt out, drained, anxious, because our brain is just like trying to switch between these things rather than just being intentional. So I've had to strip everything back and look at, okay, like what isn't working anymore? What doesn't feel aligned with the way I'm running my business? And it was that like trying to do everything and give myself away so much. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh, how exciting, like giving myself that week off actually proved to myself that taking time for me is so important and is so powerful. Like the amount of my clients that messaged me like, Yaz, thank you for taking that time off. Like you've inspired me to do the same. You've inspired me to take some time for myself. Like one of my clients was like, it's been exhausting watching you traveling and running a business. Like, thank you for taking time off. So it's like almost these fears that we build up in our heads around taking rest and, giving ourselves that time are literally silly little limiting beliefs. And what's on the other side of you being intentional, being restful and nurturing yourself is your new life, is a life where you do feel aligned again and you do feel powerful and empowered. And I really want you to take this seriously. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like you need a break right now, why? Like what is making you feel why? What is feeling out of alignment? Like what do you feel like you need to let go of? And using that death and rebirth cycle, I just want to say it feels so nice to be back. Like I feel like crying because I feel like I really felt like I lost my spark. I felt like I was losing my love for everything that I was doing. I do feel emotional because it's such a scary feeling when you're feeling really burnt out and you're feeling like you're losing the love for what you do. So coming back and actually feeling so aligned again and feeling like, oh my gosh, I know that this is such a part of me. Like the podcast is so special to me and everyone that listens is so special to me. So feeling the love for it again and feeling like, oh, that time was so special, and coming back at a time that feels aligned for me has been so beautiful and important. And I'm so happy that I really took that intentional time. And it's like we're not a robot, like we're not these puppets. Like I said that I was starting to feel a little bit like a puppet and showing up, and like it's almost like a performance, like showing up and being like happy crazy yes, when internally like I knew that I just needed time to come back to myself. And it's such a simple thing sometimes. And that time off, I wrote postcards to all of my family and, my granny, my aunties, my mum, my dad. Like, I sent postcards to everyone at home. And that felt so special. And I was like, I can't believe I've never sent a postcard home on my travels. Like, I've done a lot of trips now, and I just feel like I've always filled my life up so much without that intention. And like, yes, there's been times that I've been intentional and had really beautiful moments, but I just feel like this next chapter, it's like my eyes have opened to being really intentional with my time and like coming back to that soft part of me, which is such a big part of my life, is being gentle and soft and like honest and open. So it feels really good to be back. It feels really good to share this part of me that is very chilled and like loves her nights in. And it's raining right now, and it feels really yeah, relaxing to be recording this episode. So I want you to ask yourself, like, what could I be doing to rest, what parts of me needs to rest right now. Like really looking at what that looks like for you, and it's going to be different for everyone. It might feel really scary right now to do a week off, but it could be taking a day off work. It could be saying, actually, I'm going to have a day for myself. I do feel like, I could have actually done another week off and really, really got in there. But it's like learning and making those small steps. And like now that I feel safe to take a week off, it's allowed me to really sit with how I want to run my business. And I'm definitely going to be, running my business where I do have a lot more time off to rest and integrate and like really, really be intentional and reflect on my time more. And I'm so excited about this phase. So I wanted to pop on. I wanted to just share this podcast episode and share a little bit around what's been going on with me for anyone that feels like they are going through a lot or burnt out or feeling the feels right now. Like I'm there with you, and the rest, the intentional time, the nurturing, I'm gonna keep saying those three words, are what's really, really helped me and what I believe can really help you too. So if you ever need any more support, I have to say the CEO Club has been exceptional. It's £33 a month, and it's just been such a beautiful space, holding the community calls, having the trainings. We have our group chat where everyone gets to know each other, and having that support from like-minded women. Like, it's about everyone. We have beautiful coaches in the chat. We have amazing girls working in the online world. Like, there's so many lovely souls in this group that I just love, and I can't wait to welcome in new people. So if you feel like it's up your street, definitely join. You can use the link in the show notes. Or if you feel like you need that personal support, you know that you can always book an Empower Hour with me, and you have a podcast discount there, my loves. But I'll leave you with that. I'm going to go have a nice dinner with my lovely au pair family, and then have a shower and switch off and read my Kindle. I've nearly finished Onyx Storm. I've been reading that book series all year. So I've read The Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, this is the third book now. I can't believe I've spent all year reading these book series, but they are big books, so I let myself off. But yeah, I'm going to read that on my Kindle tonight. I'm actually going to a curly hair appointment in the morning. So they're going to really give my curls all of the love. So I'm so excited for that. It's going to be so special. And then I'll have a nice afternoon, go to Pilates, see my friend, and then have an afternoon of calls, which will be fabulous. But yes, I'm sending everyone so much love. I hope you've enjoyed this little chilled, intentional episode with me, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 a.m. UK time, so I look forward to seeing you back here. I also have a free higher self meditation course for you to learn to meditate, to relax, to switch off, that's available for you to access now in the show notes. And also don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening, rate, leave us a review. I appreciate it way more than you could ever know. Thank you so much again for listening. If you've got any feedback of the podcast, my Instagram at Yasmin Lily Hilston is also linked in the show notes, and I really appreciate it.